Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick. This way. Yes. Is Dario Albuquerque. Off camera is the fairy pod mother, Lindsay Lehman. How are we doing today?
Fabulous.
Good.
Doing good.
So, and I wanted to start today because we're going to talk about a lot of different guys a lot, but I think we should start with Mr. On the Map himself. We did a whole podcast based on this guy's playoff performance and based off that shot right there.
Yeah.
Lindsay, as the only one who's a fan of either team in this series, what was this like for you?
It was fucking horrible.
The Clippers, please elaborate.
The Clippers, even though they won 2 out of those first 4 games, they played like ass for all 4 games.
Yeah.
It was horrible to watch. I had so much anxiety. I don't think I slept well after this freaking buzzer beater that he hit. I think it took out my whole soul. But luckily, they won games 5 and 6, and they beat him, and now I can die happy.
That was it? That's all you need?
No, I need them to win, like, the championship, but I'm glad that they got past that because that was harder than I anticipated for them. But it's also because Paul George didn't exist.
So, do you feel like, and this is specifically for you, Lindsay, do you feel like you guys got lucky this series? And to elaborate, game 1, you guys were down, and at first, you could look at it as, the Mavs just caught them off guard, but then seeing the rest of the series and how it unfolded, the Mavs were, obviously good competition for them. So, do you think Clippers would have won game 1 without Porzingis getting ejected from the game? Because to put it and to push this even further, so in reality, right, that Luka shot that we just watched, that would have been 2-1 Dallas with Luka hitting that shot. And it would have been a totally different series. So I'm just curious to know, do you think that you guys got a little lucky?
The shot was in game 4, so if they had lost, it would have been 3-1 if they had lost game 1.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Which is only a dozen, a dozen teams have come back from 3-1.
Yeah.
And this team is more than capable for sure, but
yeah, I know, but there's also you never know what could have happened. If they had lost game 1, there's no saying how that would have changed game 2. So that's a whole bunch of what ifs that could be happening. Do I think that Porzingis getting ejected was good for them? I mean, obviously, yes. He was killing them, but he got ejected, and that's what happened. Kawhi was amazing.
Yeah.
The coaching was not great. Paul George was terrible. I think they got really, really lucky, and hopefully they learned from it. I was really upset with the coaching, too. I felt like they did really dumb things, like keeping Reggie Jackson in at the end of the 4th quarter. What was at the end of overtime in game 4? What was that? I feel like there was lots of little mistakes that I hope they don't make in the second round.
My main thing is I think this team was a little too prideful because if you really pay attention, they were throughout, I want to say all the way to game 5, they were just playing Luka one-on-one. They weren't trying to trap him. They never try to get the ball out of his hands because in their mind they're like, we have 5 guys who could play defense and switch on everything. And that's how they originally, I think, approached the game. And you see in game 5 and 6 that they kind of change a little bit and they start trapping him a little more. And Kawhi's on him significantly more.
So I got a couple of thoughts as to why I feel like the Clippers got lucky. Or a little bit lucky. First of all, this guy was white hot. And he showed out. And I think when we go look at his stat line, and I see 31, almost 10, almost 9, I could see that being like a season stat line for him going forward, or close to it. Maybe you flip the assists and rebounds. I could see him definitely being more of a passer than a rebounder. But like, why, especially shooting 50, about 36% from 3, this is obviously no good and it's got to go up. But why can't this be how this guy plays going forward, at least from a statistical standpoint? That's number one. The second thing I see when I look at this box score is Kristaps was really kicking you guys' asses. Like, he was really shooting 52% from 3, almost 90% from free throw line, 23 points a game, and he only played 3 games in the series. Like, and what were they were 2? The Clippers were up 2-1, right, after 3. But they were all extremely close.
Just to add to your point, Russ, if you scroll down, and Luka's numbers are skewed the other way, like going the other way, because if you remember, he got injured the one game, so it took him out for what, like a quarter and a half.
Yeah,
and then he got in foul trouble another game, I want to say, or did he get ejected? No, he got foul trouble. I think it was foul trouble.
It was Kristaps that got ejected.
Yeah,
he
it was
got
foul
into
trouble.
in Game 5, I think.
Damn, Kristaps still got ejected.
Oh no, in game 2 he got into foul trouble, but then his team started wilding, and then they were, since they were winning so much, he didn't play a lot of minutes in game 2. So like those numbers could have been even higher. Is what I'm saying. Like, he definitely, I am expecting him next year to kind of be around that.
That's what I was saying.
For sure. Yeah. I for sure think that. Especially since I think he's definitely going to work on his shooting a little more. Like, I know it's weird, and we talked about this a lot, like through text, but he's one of those guys that, again, we always go to the stat sheet, but like you look at the stat sheet and you're like, this guy shoots 30% from the free 3-point line, not in the series, but like throughout the season.
35 on the series, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean more so in the regular season.
Sure.
And you look at him and you think like he can't, like people who just look at analytics would say he can't shoot. And I'm like, you watch him play and it's like, what the fuck? Like, if you think he can't shoot, you don't know anything about basketball, because this guy makes the toughest shots. And like, yeah, he airballs some threes and shit, but he's taking the toughest possible shots, and a lot of the times he's swishing them. So I don't know, but I think he might work on his shots and maybe his shot selection a little more. But he was like, the way he played in this game, in this series, was just insane to me, because he was playing like a straight up veteran. So this was his first play.
Mark Cuban was on JJ Redick's podcast last week as they got eliminated, and Mark Cuban said, so Luka last season, every year I go to my guys and I ask them what they're going to work on in the off season. All the greats do it. And Luka said to me, I want to become a better finisher with my left hand. He said he just wants to be better around the rim. I'm pretty sure he accomplished that goal and then some this year. He was in the top 3 or 5 in like finishing around the rim, especially at his position.
And the way he was getting to the basket in the series was just, it was like without like no one could stop him from getting to the basket. Yeah. At all.
I agree. And it's clear, like, but I bring that up to say he's going to find something this season to work on, or this offseason to work on, and he will come back a better basketball player next year. And maybe that is, Mark Cuban thinks it's extending his range. If you ask me, I think the next level to his game and would separate him would be to be elite defensively. Just because he's got the body type for it. It's not an excuse. It's not like he's Chris Paul's size and he can't physically defend people. He's got the height. He's 6'7". Look, he's a big motherfucker. He should be swallowing these point guards. Why not?
The only reason I might go a little bit more with Mark Cuban than your prediction is because he actually talks to Luka. So
yeah, no,
so he might, so
no. Listen, no, I get that. What I'm saying is, I'm just trying to think a little outside the box here. I imagine he's going to look at his box score and he's going to say shooting. He's going to say there's definitive things I can work on with my jump shot and make my release or not release, but like my range better from distance. You know what I mean? And that'll probably be where he goes. But what I'm saying is, if he can, even if his jump shot wasn't that much better next year, but he shut down the guy he was guarding, I think that would be, in my opinion, better. Because we always see these guys, the first thing they do in these situations is extend their range. Like James Harden is a great example. Like he had a pretty decent 3-point shot, but that was his game. Very much like Luka's drive and kick pass to the open guy for the Thunder, right?
Yeah.
Then he gets to the Rockets. He starts, what does he do now? He chucks 10, 11 threes a game.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be where Luka ends up.
But that's a little bit.
Because that's part of like that. But what if he, instead of worked on that, flipped it and then just was like I don't know. What if he committed to defense? Wouldn't that be cool? That's all I'm saying.
The only thing with Harden is his system makes it so that he's going to be always taking all those threes. But
if you don't think Mark Cuban's going to start building, like if he's already building the team around Luka, like they're going to start, and that's the way you.
Yeah. And Carlisle is not a bad coach. Like he was out coaching Doc like throughout this whole series. Well, I'm sorry.
Do you think he's the best coach for Luka? This is a lot.
I don't know. Like I'm not
a little bit of hyperbole, but I'm just. Let me preface all these comments by saying I think Rick Carlisle did a hell of a job coaching in this series. Number one.
Yeah. To me, he outcoached the shit out of Doc this whole series.
Yeah, I mean, there's no
reason that Clippers team should have this should have been, if Clippers would have been Clippers, like the Clippers we expect them to be, this should have been 0-5.
But here's the thing, though. When you talk about the Clippers we expect them to be, and I wanted to bring this up because I think this is important. Because we saw it before with the Warriors. It's this team that it's the switch theory. The switch theory. You can flip a switch and you can turn up your intensity as a team and then kind of like solve some problems that your team ultimately has, like weak spots. But the problem is, I think these guys, and a lot of them talked about it between the stuff that's going on outside of the bubble, obviously, and the lack of energy in the bubble. I've heard a lot of Clippers specifically talking about that. And that's why Doc Rivers had to request that his bench bring energy, because he felt like his team needed that to get themselves going. That worries me as they move on into this postseason. That if you can't fucking get yourself going for this,
and the thing about that like you turn the switch on theory, that's usually for champs already. Like that's not.
But that's what this is. But this team is as deep as a championship. This team is the favorite.
No, but
has been the favorite this year.
No.
Yes.
So my main thing is you can't say you can flip a switch when this team has not played together. Like teams that play together can do that. Like LeBron teams, a lot of times they always said they flip the switch and then they just randomly start clicking. A lot of that is because of LeBron more than the team. But the Warriors, like they had that championship DNA, and when in 2015 they couldn't just flip a switch and been that. Like it definitely is like teams that have been together for a while that can do that. I would not say that about this Clippers team, and I think that's their issue is they think that they can do that, and that's why they have these games.
Well, that's my point. That's my whole point. That's
but what I'm saying, and my thing is, I'm saying they can't like that. I don't think that's the case. Like if you look at it, this team should not just be Kawhi centric. Like this team is a team that is supposed to be a all around great team, and I felt like they went to Kawhi a lot in this series and just said, "Hey, here we need a bucket, go get us that bucket, and he
Yeah.
continuously did it because he's great. But I think this team shouldn't have had to do that. Like this team should have been beating Dallas by a lot in most of these games. Like the 150 to like the blowout win that they had in game 5, like that should have been very similar to a lot of these games in the series because that team is that good.
Yeah. That's actually a game I wanted to look at because I also wanted to talk to you about Paul George and what now I'm typing Paul George, but Paul George and his performance in the whole series, as I think that which game was it? Game 5?
I think we talked about that before the series started.
Well, you had brought it up. So what were you telling me before the series?
So I think people are confusing like Paul George for like his like 6 years ago self because he has not been a good playoff performer for the last 5 years. And I don't think, like, to me, it's different when it's just a year, like you just have 1 year of bad playoff performances. But like for this to be a trend for 5 straight years, and this is looking like the 6th, to me that's you should be a little nervous about this guy because he just shows that he like doesn't show up in the playoffs. And I don't know for whatever reason. I don't know if it was partially because of that injury, like it set him back, but I don't think it should have.
At this point, that's not really an excuse.
Yeah, especially since last year he was 3rd in MVP voting. Yeah. So it's not like he can't get to that level. I just think he cracks under pressure.
I don't know if it's a crack. It's a weird thing to say that because I've seen him at other points in his career not crack. Like he's had situations at the same time where he hasn't cracked under pressure, but the ones where since he did that shit with his leg, it hasn't really looked good.
So,
and that was like he had like one more season with the Pacers, right? That was that series where he talked about, and he was like throwing his teammates under the bus to the press, right?
Yeah, like I should have got the ball at that, and there's some shit.
And then
maybe Oladipo. Oladipo. I'm not sure who took the last shot.
It wasn't Oladipo because Oladipo got traded for Paul George to go to the Thunder, and then the Thunder.
Oh, okay, my bad.
The first year, what happened to them? They beat the Rockets. Did they beat the Rockets? No, that wasn't the first year. Was that the Donovan Mitchell year, or was that the year after? I think one of those years, Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz completely upset them, right?
Yeah.
And then
I don't know if
I can't remember whether that was the first year or the second.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But
he's got a lot of like.
So do you think
those series where like in the closeout game, the last year on the Thunder, I'm pretty sure the first year was the Utah thing. Pretty sure the first year was the Utah thing. The second year, because he got in that thing with Ingles.
Yeah. Paul George, and we don't give a fuck enough to go back and look for Paul George's failures. Fuck that. Fuck him. But and I think you agree, Lindsay.
But listen.
Well, I have my bad. Just a quick question because I heard you say I don't want to get too far away from it, but I know you just mentioned like you've seen him be clutch in the playoffs or play well in the playoffs.
I've just seen him play well in clutch situations. Maybe it wasn't in like.
So do you think? Because I feel like just like the LeBron theory, where people feel like he wasn't clutch and then he became clutch. So you can change that mentality. Do you think that you can look at someone as a clutch player and then have them?
Here's the thing. I actually don't think you could change the mentality. I think LeBron's the exception and not the rule to that. Guys that we consider clutch, for the most part, outside of LeBron, have had it. They don't just obtain it magically, like the way LeBron did. Because he was like beaten into being clutch. It was like when you think about look at Kawhi. Like we never looked at Kawhi and was like, so he split the free throws when he was a rookie in the finals, right? Against the Heat. But outside of that, I can't think of another time where Kawhi was asked to do something clutch and didn't deliver it. If I'm thinking about all these guys had like Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, who we're going to talk about, they
So
don't
I
just
think
they've had it for longer period. They had it at the beginning of their career, and they just
yeah.
like hone in on it. LeBron's the only one I can think of that like was definitively not clutch, and then got like improved it. I don't know how,
I
but
think
improved.
it was more of a roller coaster ride with him, and the reason I think this is because obviously we showed his 25 points straight against Detroit in 07.
Yeah,
Then we didn't show this, but it's definitely like before Kawhi's shot heard all around the world, it was LeBron's shot heard all around the world against Orlando with the 1
yeah.
second. So he's definitely he's had the
So good point. That's a good point. He still had
he would and he looked clutch before, a little clutch beforehand, and then Dallas happened, and then everyone was like he wasn't.
But I think keeping it here, I think, and even look at a guy like Luka, like he's got it.
Yeah, but I was more so just trying to bring it back to where like LeBron was looked at as clutch, I think, in the beginning, and then drifted away because of what happened in Dallas, and I feel like you can do the same thing with Paul George because, for one, like to me, and I know it sounds ass backwards, but when you're not favored to win a series, there's so much less pressure on you.
Sure.
So for him to be clutch with the Pacers against the Heat, you would never expect it to win that series.
Okay.
So whatever you did there, but now you're like you just said, they're the odds-on favorites. Like you feel like I've honestly felt like the Clippers are the favorites. Like
that's why
I find it weird that the betting. Yeah, I was just being an asshole.
I was like, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I know. I'm just being an asshole. But I do agree. Like I feel like the Clippers are the favorites, and I think that puts way more pressure on you because it's different when they say, all right, you're the one to win it, and then you got to go win it. Like you have to go through those situations to win it now, and I feel like he starts choking a little bit.
So speaking of other guys who we need to talk about,
and I know this might be asshole-ish, but mental to me it's being more of an asshole to use mental health as your way escape to like trying to say he's going. I'm sorry, but don't go and say, oh, I'm having mental health issues when I'm doing ass, and then you go and freaking have your first good game, and then you're like, I'm back, and then the next game you do shit again, and then what are you gonna tell me? Oh, my freaking, I got a twitch in my neck because I don't know. Fuck it, fuck that.
So like, Charles Barkley had the same.
That's some pussy shit.
Charles Barkley
had the pussiest shit I've ever heard.
That you had. He said the same shit.
That's some pussy shit.
And I think, first of all, if it's about stuff that's going on in the world, you can't that either affects you in one of two ways. You either play like Jamal Murray, and we're going to get to that, or you play like Paul George.
But did you hear his excuses though? It was literally like, oh, there's no fans in the crowd like that. I can't.
No, yeah.
Get off. Like what?
Yeah, that's what he told people, and then other people were talking about how it was like about some of the stuff going on outside the bubble. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I'm not here to speculate. I am not a reporter. But I'll say this. If it's for the reasons that you're saying when there's no crowd, then that worries me about the Clippers as a whole. Because as I was talking about with the bench situation, and you can see it at the end of this game in Game 5 here. I'm going to let it run here for a second. But the bench, which is on the other side of the court here you go. The bench, whenever they get something good happening on the Clippers side, you can see that they got to react. They have to, because Doc asked them to get up. The fact that they're not doing that naturally as a team that's supposed to be going to the finals is kind of crazy to me. Like, and it worries me. Like, because let me tell you something, LeBron's not going to need any extra motivation.
But and also the Lakers are just naturally like that. Like if you watch that team, like the team isn't the greatest, but that team is definitely like you can tell that at least they make it look to the world that they're close. Well, I'd like to talk a little bit more about Kawhi because I feel like we totally neglected the man, and I've had a lot of hate for the man during this podcast, and I just want to show him a little bit of love.
Okay.
So could we
what do you
could we
got?
just show him dicking people down? Like, do we have anything? So he had what? I think did he have every single game over 30 a game?
Yeah.
He shot super efficient. The team, there were points in the game where the team just asked him to get a bucket, and I think it was
Or no one else could get a bucket.
Yeah, I
On
think
this team.
Game 6, I want to say they went probably 4 or 5 straight possessions just asking him, go get me a bucket, and he was just doing it mid range, beautiful, like it was just attack mode, and that was
fourth quarter.
Yeah,
it was him and Reggie Jackson.
Look, 4 for 4. I felt like they didn't have anything to stop him, and I mean, Dallas isn't really the greatest defensive team.
How's that in a closeout game for second half? 9 of 10, 22 easy ones.
Yeah, that's insane. You missed one shot though. Yeah,
in the closeout.
Yeah,
of a series that was going either way. Like, was
you had you had Baby Bird on the other side, and he was just like, "Nah, bro." He's
like, when you look at the chart, I can get Kawhi's chart. You can see where he shot the shots from.
Oh,
they're all from the middle of the floor.
Yeah,
he's got like couple of shots here, and they're all
dunks
here.
Yeah, that's very Kobe-esque right there.
That's true,
and I like that. I bet it's made me, change my shit on him.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I bitched a lot about how he didn't, because I just don't like when I would watch Kobe.
Look,
I
think that you hate load management with a passion.
Yes, and that's why I was just where I was about to go with this. Is I watched Kobe, and no matter what game it was, I just always saw him just attack, and he I felt like you couldn't. There was no gears with him really.
Yes,
and I just don't like how passive Kawhi gets. But like in the playoffs, he's been the exact opposite.
Here's the thing, and I wanted to show the Kawhi who yells at teammates, and he I wonder if I can get some.
Didn't someone say, "What if Kawhi is really worse than Jordan and we just don't know it?"
Yeah,
some shit like that. Yeah.
But I saw that and I was like, "Well, one thing I know for sure after the Last Dance, Jordan would do that shit."
Yeah,
100%. That was really bad.
Like, I don't know what he tried to do, because
here we go. Ready? Here it comes. It's showing Reggie Jackson being an idiot, and then Kawhi as they go to the bench. Damn, I thought they called timeout. You could hear. Oh, okay, I was like, oh, okay. I thought they called timeout. Yeah.
What's up?
Ball for that shit. And he might Here's the thing.
They're up 25. That was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
But that was pathetic, though.
Yeah, but that was just so fucked up. Like,
yeah, but he got this dope ass steal off of Boban, and then he gets it and he passes it to Reggie Jackson, and he just flails around.
Yeah.
If I got a steal like that off of a 7-foot-something dude, and then someone took the ball and flailed around, I'd be pissed too.
Here's what I learned. Don't talk shit about Lindsay's GOAT. That's what I learned.
Kawhi's your GOAT?
Kawhi's your GOAT now.
Don't put words in my mouth.
I was gonna say, I thought it was Blakey.
No, Blake is why I fell in love with basketball.
All right, so look, Kawhi Leonard, 32, 10, and 5. 2 steals every game. Terrible from 3, but 53% from the field overall.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Paul George has got to do better than 35% from the field.
All right, can we go to Paul George? Because I we have to now, because it's just, we click on this man and like actually like look at his stats for
What do
the
you want to
last
look
like
at? His stats,
his
playoff
postseason, his
stats.
postseason. Yeah,
Okay.
I just want to because I'm pretty sure this is pretty consistent. Like I think he's being consistent. You know,
He's
it's
consistently inconsistent.
yeah, he's consistently bad. That's my main thing. And maybe I'm wrong because I haven't looked at this for a while, but I just know with my eye, like when I watched him play, I was just like, this was ass. All right, he did decent versus. Okay, 25.
Under 40% shooting.
Yeah.
Effective field goal percentage, 47%. He's making 8 for every 20 shots he takes for 4 years.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
He's basically scoring 25 points a game on 20 shots.
Yeah.
That's
and we know that it wasn't.
inefficient.
Yeah. And they're off those 4 out of those 5 years. Oh, sorry. What? 3 out of those 4 years that you just did. He didn't leave the first round. So
I don't think he left the first round in any of these.
Well, besides the Clippers one.
Right.
Yeah. So he's definitely been ass. I mean, you could look at just numbers 27 7 and what the 1 year 28 7 and 9 makes it look like he's doing awesome, but I don't know. You watch the games
the
and you
field
can
goal
see
percentage are really bad and it shows.
Yeah.
Especially because that guy's pretty okay at shooting from the field. Oh, you know what? Maybe maybe not. Maybe he's a career 43% field goal shooter, and he's kind of overrated as a player.
Yeah.
Maybe we just have to kind of chalk that up to that. What do you think, Lindsay? You've gotten to watch this guy for a whole season. What do you think? You think he's overrated?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. Like, okay. They didn't play bad during the regular season, but they also never played as a full team. And so I'm sure myself, along with other Clippers fans, were hoping that them being able to be in the bubble and play together consistently, some of this would, fucking stop.
Yeah.
And so, no, now I just think he's not as good as he was, or maybe we all thought he's better than he was.
I got a question. Now. Do you want to go to a guy who is super clutch or a guy who has learned clutchness, or do you want to talk about two guys who aren't clutch at all? You pick.
Unclutch.
Is that cool with you guys? Is that cool with you, Dario?
Deal.
All right, let's talk about the Houston Rockets. 30 seconds, because I don't want the narrative to be lost in the sea of Russell Westbrook and James Harden finally got past the first round.
When was the? I understand that people make it a thing to just hate James Harden, but James Harden has definitely been like pretty decent for like the last 5 years.
But
would you like me to get his numbers in Game 7?
Has he been decent in the playoffs? Like
no, hold on. I got this. Do you want to know what I'm concerned about? This is a game that he fucking won, mind you. And that I heard several members of the media say James Harden really came through in the clutch. And to some extent, he did. But I want it to be known that James Harden put up 17 points on 15 shots. That's not the right guy. And he's known for doing this in elimination games.
That's the thing that bothers me is because the disrespect. He's going against Golden State. Like he's 4 out of the last 5 years he's lost in the playoffs against the best team arguably ever. So I don't think that's fair to just be like, oh, this guy's ass because he can't beat the greatest team ever. That's not fair. Like no one called Jordan ass for not being able to win a game against the Celtics. Last time I checked, they went to overtime in game 2 when he dropped 63 against the Celtics and he still lost. Like we didn't call him ass. Like he could have closed out.
Here's the thing. Look. because this is what we hear all the time, right, Dario? We hear James Harden, perennial playoff loser, right? Perennial playoff loser, can never get it done in closeout games. But I just showed you, to your point, he's averaging 35 a game against Golden State, and he's basically lost to the best team in the world every year in the playoffs.
And usually went deep with them. Like he went 6 or 7 games every single year, I feel like.
So what is it about this guy
that's not clutch?
What is it about this guy that makes people think that he's not a winner? Besides his empty ring finger.
I think a lot of people feel like he's selfish, which I could understand. All I'm saying, I'm not trying to say James Harden is a clutch player. I'm definitely not.
I'm trying to hear what you are trying to say, though.
What I'm trying to say is I don't think it's fair for people to just make him seem like he's dumpster fire, because he, like, even in this series, like, he won and they're still giving him shit about it. I'm like, he played, like, how many times have we seen great players play horrible in, like, Kobe in 2010, the playoff game against the finals against the Celtics.
Game 7.
He played horrible, but no one ever went at the end and said, hey, I mean, sure, he won the championship, but, like, no one ever went and said...
There are haters that definitely bring that up, but not since he passed away, obviously.
Yeah, but definitely, like, he won Finals MVP. He was clearly the best player on the team. And James Harden, if he goes to the Finals and wins, he's going to win Finals MVP because he's clearly the best player on the team. Like,
he had to carry... First of all, it was a pretty fair and even team series when you consider Russell Westbrook only played 3 games, and when he did play, he played less than 30 minutes, and he pretty much sucked ass.
No. Like, to me, it's more Russ's fault than James's fault. If you actually watch the games, Russell was fucking up a lot of those games. He had between, like, in Game 6, he had 7 turnovers and, like, literally cost him the game at the end of Game 6.
Yeah.
When like, in reality, he should have just gave it to James Harden and let him work and saw where he could get him. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of, like, hate on James Harden, and I could kind of understand it, but I feel like a lot of it is unnecessary when you're thinking about who he's going against. Because when LeBron's getting swept by the Warriors and losing in 5 to the same Warriors that James Harden is bringing to 7 games, 6 games, and no one's saying LeBron James isn't clutch. No one's saying LeBron James isn't getting it done, because they don't expect him to. So why do you expect James Harden to?
Both Harden and Westbrook had some atrocious turnovers at the end of the quarter in Game 6. Like, they both were playing terrible at the end of Game 6.
And Game 7.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was so... I feel like they did not deserve to win this series, being the team that should have been the better team. I feel like the fact that it took them 7 games to put away this OKC team that basically only has Chris Paul.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. That's what I don't agree with that, because first of all, Westbrook wasn't playing. Second of all, when he did play, he wasn't an all-star. It wasn't like it was James Harden versus Chris Paul, and it went 7.
No, but
if I'm gonna kill anybody for the series, if there's somebody that needs to be killed for the series, it's a guy who had a height advantage over every single person on the floor at any point. And that's Steven Adams. Steven Adams played 30 minutes.
I don't know if that's
10 points. Only 10 points out of Steven Adams. I know he's not like a dominant scorer, but we're going to get to another guy. Even fucking Dort gave me 30 in Game 7. Like, he's not, I'm not saying he's the greatest scorer in the world, but when you're playing the Rockets and the tallest guy guarding you you have half a foot on, you got to give me more than 10 rebounds. You got to make sure.
Especially in Game 7. Game 7, I understand that. Throughout the series, I don't blame them, because that's not their game. That's not the game. Like, OKC's game is more with the guards. Like
Yeah.
they're more guard oriented. But in the last game of the series, you should be. Yeah, I agree.
Look,
you
he
should
was 4 of
definitely.
6. If you give this guy 10 shots, that's you fix your game.
Yeah, and you get automatic buckets. But I mean, Houston does swarm. Like once the big man gets the ball, you just see a lot of people coming at him and going
All right, well,
straight
then
for the
get
ball.
to the free throw line. Like, am I asking for too much? Maybe I'm asking for too much, but
I mean, for him, yeah. Like if he was like a better big man, sure.
I just need one. To your point, Dario, I need one fucking game.
Yeah, that's
You know
my
what I
main
mean?
thing is game 7. You could try to give me 20. Like
When my 34-year-old point guard, and I want to talk about him in 2 seconds, is giving me a triple double, after the fucking for the bullshit that he goes through on a daily basis with his resume. I don't know. He needed more. And Gallinari, this is a terrible performance. 4 points on 6 shots.
He sucks.
That shit is rough.
You know, I think this is like it shows like Chris Paul. Like you gotta show him some love because
that's why we're gonna do that right now.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm gonna ask you this first question, and then I'm gonna ask you the second question. First question is he a top 5 point guard in the league right now?
I'm going no.
Yes.
All right,
I'm going yes.
name me 5 point guards better than Chris Paul in the league right now. If you had put them in that position with Oklahoma City, they do the amazing things that
that's different than being a leader. Like you said, it's
both.
leadership.
It's part of being a great point guard is being a great leader.
All
specifically.
Right. I'm going Steph.
Okay.
I'm going Damian Lillard. I don't think anyone. If you were to like name a top 5 point guard and not say Damian Lillard is over Chris Paul right now, that's just.
I think there's an argument to be made, but continue.
You got that's the whole thing. You like I'm not thinking about my top 5 point guards right now.
I know I caught you off guard for a reason.
I'm still going Westbrook over him. You can't say in a pure ability and talent. Like Westbrook's just like a guy giving you at least 25, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Like you can't. Like that's superstar. He's a superstar. Like Chris Paul was not a superstar this whole year. Like,
I don't think that's fair though, because the Oklahoma City was the 4 seed, right? Same spot that Russell Westbrook had him in when he was averaging triple double and winning MVP, right? Same fucking spot.
I don't think it's the same team though. I don't think all those point guards were there and stuff.
Yeah, well then
I don't think Russell Westbrook would have done that anyways. But that's more towards Chris Paul's leadership. He helped grow the younger players.
But you don't think that I'm saying
that doesn't make you a better player. That means you're a better leader.
It makes you an elite point guard specifically. Because the point guard is the closest thing to being the on-court coach, and he's the most classic point guard we have in our league.
When Tim Duncan was at his very end, he was probably the best leader at power forward, but he wasn't the best power forward.
Right.
Or he wasn't a top 5 power forward. I wasn't
talking about power forwards.
No, but what I'm saying is you can't like leadership. There's leadership, and then there's point. Like
no, I don't. I think specifically with the point guard position, they go hand in hand.
No.
Absolutely. Name me a great point guard that was a terrible leader. Like a great point guard, like a really great point guard that was a terrible leader. You're gonna have a hard time.
Most great players are usually when you're talking about great players, you're talking about great leaders too.
Yeah, but even like point guards that we wouldn't consider like a Hall of Fame like number 1 scoring option, like those point guards are still good leaders. And they end up being coaches.
Russell Westbrook, then. Russell Westbrook is a great point guard, and he's an all-time great.
He's a great player.
If you don't think Russell Westbrook,
he's a great player. He's not a great point guard. He's a great player, and he's more of a 2 guard. Same way, like Allen Iverson's like a point guard, 2 guard. Same thing. Like he's not. It's not really like that. Like I wouldn't really. And Chris Paul, I could see being the guy from our generation that is doing what a guy like Steve Nash did today, and Jason Kidd, and one of those guys who gets a coaching job, like a head coaching job.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. He'd be great at that because he
maybe
knows how to develop players. Well, you
maybe
just
he'd
saw
be
it. Like
great at that. Maybe he'd scream at people and be awful. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I don't.
He'd be a
That's
fucking
true.
cunt.
That's
You
true
know what I
because he
mean?
does. Because a lot of people say, "Well, all right, time out. I don't think one series should also negate his issues in the last few years. He's been ran out of two places because of his his poor leadership.
Wait a minute.
Blake Griffin, and him could not get along.
The Clipper one's definitely on him. I'm not ready to say the Houston one was his fault.
But it's just like with Kobe and Shaq, we blame it straight on Kobe. So you got to do the same thing.
Yeah, but Shaq ended up leaving.
Yeah, but it was James Harden's team. They're not going to give up.
That's my point. I don't think that's fair. I think James Harden got to set the narrative in that situation. Like I don't.
No, there was like literally reports of him of Chris Paul. Chris Paul would like
call him fat.
James Harden, huh?
He called him fat,
but James Harden would like shoot around.
Yeah,
and then Chris Paul, there would be like multiple courts around, and Chris Paul would go to the court that he's shooting around on, and like fuck up his like shit. Like he would do shit like that. Like it was reported. Like I remember that because I was just like, wow, like that's some dick shit. And they clearly didn't like each other. And you saw in a playoff game, James Harden.
I don't know. I listened to Chris Paul talk, and I think about like he's just a competitor. And I listen to James Harden talk, and I just think, this guy's a little pussy. Just my opinion. I can see that. I can see it being a situation where they interviewed a lot of people from Houston, and a lot of people from Houston like James Harden, and they're trying to like, you know what I mean? There's in that situation. No, it's going to be hard to find people that are on Chris Paul's side, is my point. With the Clippers situation, that one was on him. He should have been the guy to make that better, and he definitively did not. So that I would agree with. But with the Houston situation, and
I just think if you getting traded by multiple teams consistently,
I could say the same thing about Jimmy Butler.
He's gotten traded twice. That's it.
Yeah. I could say the same thing about Jimmy Butler, but I don't see anything coming out about this guy. Not right now, for the same reasons.
You think Jimmy did? Jimmy literally called them soft. And
no,
like
I'm just
that's literally what you're saying. Like he like Jimmy was doing what you like were just like praising.
No, I agree with you. That's my point. My point is beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And if you're around soft people, it's going to be hard for the guy who calls you soft to get any benefit of the doubt. That's my point.
Yeah, but that's poor. That's also poor leadership. You got to like we said Kobe was a bad We said Kobe was a bad leader because he couldn't figure it out with Shaq. We have to say Chris Paul's a bad leader because he couldn't figure it out with Harden. Why is that? Why is
the onus not also on Harden? I don't understand that. Why is it only on Chris Paul there? Because especially in the Rocket situation, James Harden's the leader, the better player. It's his team. Chris Paul's coming to the team. Like, I don't understand why this is the onus on Harden to, quit being a little bitch. That's what I don't understand. I'm saying you don't go to the media. You don't go to the media and you go, he's calling me fat. I want him traded.
Okay, look, I'm not a fan of James
You're fucking
Harden.
30.
My man put up 35, 8, and like 7 in all like for 3 years straight.
What is he worried about? Why is he so sensitive?
I am not a fan of James Harden. I don't know why.
I think that's poor leadership by Chris Paul.
But I think Chris Paul.
I think that's unfair to put the total blame on him.
I feel like a lot of blame should still be put on him because
I just think it's not. I just think you got to look at it from both sides. I don't even think James Harden's completely in the wrong in this situation, but I find myself completely defending him because I just don't think. Or completely attacking him, rather, because I just don't think it was all Chris Paul's fault. Because I've seen James Harden in interviews, like when Giannis said that he dribbles too much, James Harden had to call what's her name on the jump and fucking be like,
"That's not true."
You don't think it's true? You don't think that's true? How do you think she got that interview?
They literally like have been. They were trying to like talk to him for like mad long. Like, look at how late. Like that was like not super immediate that it happened. Like it took a while because he didn't even want to talk about it.
I'm sure he didn't want to talk about it. You don't think
if you wanted to talk about it, you would have done it the very next day. What are you talking about?
If you're not soft, Dario, you're not soft. I'm not soft. We don't think like that. We would go the next day and be like, fuck this motherfucker. But this guy's soft. That's my point. That's my point. Soft people do soft shit.
All right, so top 5 point guards. I'm definitely picking Curry. I'm definitely picking Lillard. I'm definitely picking Luka. I'm picking. I mean, I'm picking Westbrook, and if you want to call him a point guard because he has been a point guard, I'm picking James Harden over him as a better player. I'm not like if we're talking about the top 5 leaders, I think Chris Paul is probably top 5 leaders in the league easily.
I just think it sucks. I just think it's shitty to. I think that Chris Paul
has not left the second round in his career.
Bro, he's also never gotten. I don't know. He's also never gotten to play with anybody. Like, if he goes to your team, the team on your chest, I think it's going to be a different ballgame. If he had gone to the team on your chest when he was supposed to, and you know what I'm talking about.
And I was trying to show love to Chris Paul in this.
But I think it would have been a different ballgame. I think the whole thing would have changed if they had gotten Chris Paul when Chris Paul was supposed to go to that fucking Lakers squad. And I don't think that's. And I think that because he was never put in a position where he was the 1B. And I think that is the number 1 spot for him to be in.
With the Clippers, he was.
You think he was not as good as Blake Griffin?
He was not as good?
Yeah. I think he was the 1A to Blake Griffin's 1B.
Wait, what are you trying to say? Oh, you're trying to say that he was the second best? Oh, that he's clearly the second best?
To Kobe, he would have been.
Yeah, but to Harden, he was. He was clearly the second. He was not better than Harden. But
I don't think he thought that. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Like, I'm not going to say that, though, because that first season,
he would have bowed down to Kobe. And he was in his athletic prime, and Kobe would have I think it would have worked better. It's just my opinion.
I agree. So I think. And Kobe wouldn't have got a freaking Achilles injury that year if it would have happened, because he wouldn't have had to freaking. He went 7 straight games with 48 minutes. I'm not going to talk about it because fuck the D'Antoni.
That's another. Yeah, I mean, look at what Chris Paul did with D'Antoni when he was fucking old. Imagine what he would have done with him in that point of time.
And the thing with Houston though, they went 7 games against the Warriors. They clearly he got a hamstring injury. Yes, so I'm not gonna say that he you can't just make it seem like he didn't do anything with the Houston. He definitely did, and he knew that he was. I think he knew at that point he's the second best player on the team.
I don't know, because I think
if you watch that series, he definitely. If I
was Chris Paul, I could imagine a world where he doesn't think that. You know what I'm saying?
But I feel like he said stuff like that. Like he definitely didn't move like he was the best. He was the team's leader, and
considering what happened, it seems like he didn't think that.
I feel like they had a fallout. It must have been the second year.
Maybe
it had to have been.
But I just think, and it might have happened in that series. You know what I mean? Like in that Warriors series.
No, it was before.
Was like,
definitely
this guy might not be getting it done. You know? So I don't know. But I just think Chris Paul is he might end his career as somebody who, I don't know. I feel like he's going to end up with one of those forgotten careers because of his lack of playoff success. And I feel like not all of that is his fault. The Lakers thing is not his fault.
That's definitely not his fault. But
I think that would have changed his career drastically.
But for you to say that he called James Harden fat or whatever, but like he wasn't in the best of shape himself, because when you think about it, how many years straight did he have injuries? That's like not 5. Just bad luck. That's not bad luck. That's you have to make sure you
that's the other thing. Do you think he? I think he
changed his diet this year.
He did, right? Okay. So that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's true. That's true. So what do you think? So now, last thing on Chris Paul, then we're gonna move on. Do you want him as an LA Laker next year, considering what you've just seen?
Yeah, like that's the shit. Like I wasn't trying to show it. I literally started this Chris Paul thing. Like we have to show love to Chris Paul, and then somehow we came to this turnaround where I'm just like, fuck this guy. This guy ain't shit. But I'm just like, I just feel like people put way too much hate on James Harden when he did things LeBron James never did with in terms of what he had to deal with Golden State. He brought that team to game 6 and 7 in 17 and 19 and 18 when LeBron lost in 4 and 5. Yeah. So I don't think that that's fair for people to just be like, well, he's ringless and shit. I'm like, you have the best team almost ever. You're going against, and you have to go through them. It's just like with Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell. He had to go through Bill Russell, and he just never made it. So is it fair to be like, oh, this guy's a freaking bum? Like we felt like it wasn't fair because you had to go through Bill Russell. Like it's the same thing to me. Like you gotta put it into context. Like if he was, I think if that Houston team was in the East, they would have been going to the finals because I don't think LeBron's team could have beat that Houston team at that point.
They smoked them in the regular season. Yeah.
I feel like they would have had a hard time.
No, yeah, they probably would have. But that's I don't know. But that's just another reason to do 1 through 16 and change the seeding.
Yeah.
But moving on. So I almost got this fucking series right. I was this close. And I feel good about it despite the fact that they lost because I was right about Donovan Mitchell. I didn't know. I knew that the Nuggets were horrible defensively. I knew that they didn't really have anybody to guard Mitchell consistently. But to say I expected him to drop 50 twice or like
57, 51, yeah,
go extremely hard. I couldn't say I expected that. What did he finish with for this series?
And I've got to say I was very wrong about this series. Like even though like it turned out the way that I thought that I said, like in terms of Denver winning, I was expecting like the Joker did do his thing. He didn't give me the 29-13 that I asked for, but he did what he had to do, and especially he hit the game-winning bucket of the series. So
yeah,
that was definitely good. But and he shot really efficient too.
Yeah, he did
48% from 3.
Yeah.
And
he taking over 40 in the series.
He was so pivotal in that game 7, man.
I didn't expect Jamal Murray. Like that was, and we were talking about him before the series, and I know you had a lot of hate for him, but
well, here's the thing with Jamal Murray, and I'm gonna continue the hate train right now. My thing with Jamal Murray is he's still inconsistent.
Yeah,
he had some crazy ass shots that he made in this series.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna ask you, do you think it was just a hot streak, or do you think a star is born?
Damn, you're asking me? If he shoots this for the rest of the playoffs, who's beating Denver?
The Clippers. The fuck?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think he's shooting this against the Clippers. So to answer your question, I don't think
is Patrick Beverley gonna be playing? I think if he shoots that against the Clippers,
they're gonna have a hard fucking time.
I think Clippers lose in 6.
Yeah,
you wanna know why though?
Like,
and it's not even because of him. It's because I know the Joker is gonna definitely give me that or more against the Clippers because they can't guard.
And he did this against the best.
I'm sorry, you need to go back and look up fucking Zubac's numbers against Denver. He can guard Jokic. The issue would be is if they don't have him guarding him all the time.
Yo, Rudy Gobert is a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, right? Oh, am I wrong?
And Rudy Gobert did his thing in the series.
Yo, I understand you love the Clippers.
Look at the numbers though. Like I'm not trying to pull your chain or like be like that Clipper dick rider. But if you look at the numbers of when Zubac guards Jokic, he plays him well.
If I had to put my money on who, like Zubac guarding locking him up, or Jokic giving him 30 and 15, I'm definitely going the 30 and 15 route.
Let's look at Jokic versus.
But I feel you, because sometimes that does happen. Like things like obviously, what's this? Oh, we didn't even speak about him in the last series. But what is his name? The guy that was guarding James Harden.
The 30-point legend, the Game 7 beast.
Yeah. Like,
Chunky
do you think that might be like a Kawhi-esque kind of guy? Where he's like a great defensive player, and then
listen, man.
And then he just shows up offensively, and he's
Thor, aka Chunky Butt, is awesome. I fucking love that guy.
Chunky Butt.
You never seen that? Look, dude, that guy is the chunkiest ass I've ever seen in my life. It looks like his
but
ass,
I don't look at it like that.
It looks like his
what the
ass
hell?
is what gives him the insane vertical to jump off the ground and like sky over people. Because he's got this crazy hop. He's got insane hops. He's pretty strong on defense. Yeah. If he gets to nail the threes like he did fucking in Game 7, sky's the limit for that guy. But fucking, here's the other thing. If we're going to talk about that, Sam Presti is the greatest drafter ever.
Oh, 100%. He drafted 3 MVPs.
Definitively the greatest drafter of the 21st century. But like, there's nobody
over this man. What's his name?
I could literally give you just players.
The Spurs guy?
Over RC Buford.
Yeah,
when RC Buford drafts 3 MVPs and 3 more starters.
Yeah, but he drafts and wins though. That's my.
But you don't think? I think that's more because of Pop. Sam Presti hasn't had a consistent coach in there. Like, he had Billy Donovan, he had Scott Brooks, but those guys aren't at the top of the league for coaching. And he's given me Harden, Westbrook, Durant, Ibaka, fucking Jeff Green, who's played in the league for a long time now. I just think Sam Presti is elite at what he does.
Yeah. I mean, when you can't argue for 3 MVPs.
I just think it's hard for general managers to draft. Like, it's like it's just like gambling, essentially.
Yeah.
And that guy is elite. Elite. The best drafting GM maybe ever, but definitely of the last few years, of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Jokic. So Jokic against the Clippers, right? I gotta go back up here and organize. So Jokic, 17 points, shot 60%, but lost handedly twice to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was one in the bubble. So this was a bubble game. So let's click this, because that's an August date. Clippers Nuggets. Zubac had 3 points, or 15 points, excuse me. I saw 3 fouls, my bad. 15 points, 12 rebounds, did smash him pretty good. 7 of 9. George and Leonard both showed up, which didn't happen in the last series except for one game for them.
Yeah. But he does have the luxury of going against a really poor defensive team. And I think they're much worse than the Mavs.
And Jokic only played, he scored 17 points, he shot 63%, and he only played 28 minutes. So there's a chance that they weren't showing everything.
No, I think they were just giving up the games. I think we might have talked about this during that, like, because this was towards the end wasn't this towards the end?
This is August 12th. So yeah.
August, yeah. So I'm pretty sure they quit on the game. So I don't know if we wanna. I'm not gonna hold, and like I always say, I'm not gonna hold that much like relevance to regular season. The only series I've ever seen that has actually mattered so far is like Miami and Bucks, and we're gonna talk about that. But other than that, like usually regular season doesn't matter as much when it comes to playoff time.
What do you think about Jamal Murray? I'm going to ask your own question back to you.
So,
Do you think Jamal Murray? Do you think this is a star? Or do you think
1,000% a hot streak. 1,000% a hot streak. I don't give a fuck what we're talking about. No one averages 15 points over, or what? Maybe 13, 14 points over the average in the playoffs. Like we could say, I know great players usually play better in the playoffs, but not that much better. I think it's just a hot streak.
He's only 22, and he's a good shooter. Like that's for sure. Like he's known to shooting the ball. He came out of college being a shooter.
I think one thing I did like about him, and I guess since we're still talking about the series, and that I didn't like about Donovan Mitchell was, so for whatever reason, Donovan Mitchell, the last plays of the game, he goes and he has the ball in his hands. He gets the ball tipped out of his hand. I'm not 100%.
Hold on, time out. We can bring this up.
Like he didn't get back on defense at all. He just like totally quit on the play. And mind you, that's the very end of the game. This is the end of the game. You have to run up the court and try to get a stop or some shit, get the ball back. And they end up getting the ball back. And I know people mentioned like, why didn't Conley pass it to Mitchell at the end of the game? And I'm like, for one, if it was me getting the ball at the end of that game and running up the court, you can't think. You have it was 4 seconds from when he got the ball to when he had to go get that last 3-point shot. You're not thinking of passing it up the court, and you're not expecting any of your guys to be up the court already because you expected that your guys were with you. Like you don't know that fucking Donovan Mitchell was freaking on the floor bitching and then got up and it was just like, oh, now I'm good. I'm free for open three. Like you didn't know that. And I just feel like that type of shit costs. Like you never see great players do that. That's just one thing. And that's very nitpicky, but I think that cost him the game because he could have been the one getting that ball at the end, and he was the one that was hot during the game. So if he would have shot this three instead of Conley, maybe we're looking at a dagger three to end the series.
So let's run that back in real time because I want you to talk us through that because I think that's a good point.
Because that like you could score all the points in the world, but you have to like always show effort. Like even if he would have been like, because this game wasn't his best game. Or look, like hey, your boy,
excellent footwork.
Yeah. But look, like he gets the ball tipped. Look, he falls. Look, he didn't have to. Like, whatever. But I feel like you should still run up the court.
So time out. They should not have taken that shot, right?
No, that was that was Jamal Murray's. Like that was stupid. He should have brought that shit back. Got fouled. He's a 90% free throw shooter. The game would have been sealed.
There's Jamal Murray with the ball.
Yeah, I don't even know why you're rushing. I wouldn't have even rushed. I would have just literally started dribbling normal. Like, been like, oh, it's over. Like, that's now it. Like, the game is over.
So Donovan Mitchell's now down here. Over here.
Yeah, because he never ran back. So if he would have ran back, maybe he's at the half court line or something. Maybe Conley could see him now. Maybe Conley passes it to him because he sees that he'd have an open lane or some shit. I don't know. Like, Conley's not – look, there's a second left. How would Conley have ever passed that ball? He couldn't.
If he had passed the ball, there's no way. Do you think he's able to get a shot off in that amount of time?
No, I think it's over. I think the game is clearly over. But, like, either way, like, look at that pass. That would have to be a precise pass, a second and a half left, two defenders. Well, there's at least a defender in his way. It might not be a perfect pass. I think you have to go for the shot at that moment. And look, Jamal Murray, at least he came back and contested the shot. Like that. That's what I'm talking about. Jamal Murray had a bad play, but at least he came back and he was there for the contest of the shot. And I feel like Donovan Mitchell fucked that game up. Like those last few seconds were just horrible by him. Like you get the turnover and then you don't even run back, and then you're just being a drama queen. I mean, you lost your series, but still.
Hard words for our players today on Apex Greatness. Fucking coming.
I don't think he was being a drama queen. I can't imagine
coming at
how
all
sad
these guys today.
That's what I'm saying. when they were walking out, especially after these Game 7 losses for these people, I can't imagine not only just losing a Game 7, but then losing a Game 7 in that isolation that you've been in for months, and then be like, oh yeah, we were just about to have families come in, but now my ass is going home to be with my family.
Yeah. But do you feel like he was more so? I felt like he was mad that he didn't get the ball there. Like look at if you look at him, like don't look at the shot and you look at him as it's going. Like he was calling for the ball and he just like left it up, like his hands up, like bro, like I was open. Like I feel like that's what he was doing. Like,
but I feel like anybody in that situation is gonna feel that way though.
You just you got that. Literally the reason you're in the position is because of yourself.
No, like, but I know, but like you're not putting yourself in his shoes. There's nobody.
Yeah,
it's game 7. There's 2 seconds left. He can't believe they actually fucking didn't just run the clock out. So he's going, oh my God, we have a shot. Give me the ball.
You know what he really should have done though? He should have ran up the court and looked for a lob.
You know what he really should have done is not turn the ball over like an idiot.
Yeah, but no, in reality, if they wouldn't have went for the win, and if he would have went for like a lob or some shit, in 1.6 seconds, he definitely could have threw you a lob. And Mike Conley would most likely throw you a way more accurate pass there than having to go cross his body for, you know what I mean? Like that's an easier pass. You would have most likely got a shot off too.
With 1.6 left, it's so hard to justify throwing a lob over just shooting it.
But he's gonna be open. He's gonna be wide open.
I know.
He's by himself.
Hindsight is always 20/20, my friend.
Yeah.
Fucking. Last series we want to talk about.
But I do think, besides all of that, I do think Donovan Mitchell is a star.
And you didn't think that beforehand?
He better be a star.
I did not.
He's going to be getting that star money, that max contract money with the Jazz once free agency starts.
Oh, he better.
I think they're already working on it.
Yeah.
Give that man his checks.
Mm-hmm.
All the checks.
But speaking of a star.
Yeah. Here we go.
And I'm not talking about the big, lazy motherfucker.
So, you want to talk about the big lazy motherfucker first? Or do you want to talk about the star?
I feel like we should start on a positive note.
All right. So let's talk about Mr. Jason Tatum and his comparisons to the Black Mamba. So, I sent this video to you on Twitter because I was like, it gave me goosebumps. Because I just thought, I'm pretty good at seeing stuff like this, and I never really saw the Kobe in him. I just kind of saw it. To me, he was more like a Durant type guy.
You were the one that told me about this.
Well, I felt that way more. I know that Kobe's his favorite player, but I didn't put the game. I don't think he has Kobe's game. I think he's more of a Durant. My opinion, because of his length and his body type. But when I watched this, I was like, I guess this makes a lot more sense. And it's like frighteningly similar. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. I mean, because I saw this probably about a year ago. Because this is definitely not new. This is yeah. I think you were the one that showed it to me. Actually, that's why I'm surprised.
Well, I sent it to you this week.
No, I know, but I thought you showed it to me last year.
No,
like,
I never seen it. I never seen it.
Oh, you didn't? Because
No.
I think I might have like shared it on Facebook.
No, maybe.
You guys want to go follow us, you know. But this was what kind of made me start like looking at Tatum in that way, because I'm like, oh, we got a new Kobe. That'll be nice. But I kind of liked him to begin with because like just the way he played and stuff, like I remember because it was like in his first year where Kyrie got injured, and then he was kind of starting to become the little leader of that mini little team there, and he went deep with LeBron against LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals that year, and he dunked on LeBron that year, and I remember thinking like, wow, I really like this kid, and then I saw this video, and I'm like, that makes so much more sense why I like him, because I was like, I don't know what it is about this kid, but I just like him. And then when I saw the video, I'm like, oh, this makes complete sense. I'm like, now I understand, because you're way better than me. Like when it comes to like comparing players, little styles and stuff,
Yeah.
because just the nuances and the styles kind of throw me off. So like I never noticed, like unless someone puts like a side by side like comparison, like with Kawhi. Like I never thought about Kawhi until you mentioned it to me. So
well, that's why I don't think Tatum and Kawhi play similar.
Yeah,
that's why it didn't pop in my head to me.
But what I've noticed is Kawhi plays more like 09 Kobe, and Jason Tatum plays more like 2001 Kobe.
Interesting.
That's what I've noticed. Like the off the dribble. Like I feel like if you look at that, like it's very weird. Like it's just like the two different versions of Kobe.
The guy I see, and I'm going to say it again, the guy I see is Durant. I see the game like Durant. The dribble, catch, step back. Like, because it's not like, he's not really like Harden. Like, he does a lot of step backs like Harden, but he's not really like herky. I don't know. He's herky-jerky like Durant. Like, he moves, to me, he's long like Durant. So, like, I see that more than anything. But I got to tell you something. And we're going to have a couple of these for me. I got two guys in the last 5 years that I've been very high on. And one of them is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and we're going to talk about him. The other one is Joel Embiid. Because I see his potential as completely limitless. He's a guy who can move like Hakeem Olajuwon when I thought Hakeem Olajuwon was going to be the only guy ever to be like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether he's just sick of playing in Philly, whether I'm just wrong about his talent, but when I see shit like this, it's hard to think that. And I just don't know. I think he needs, the number one thing I know that he needs is a new coach. And they solved that problem as soon as this series was over by firing Brett Brown, who, in my opinion, that was 2 years overdue.
Yeah. Why don't they? And I know this sounds weird, but why don't they go with Mark Jackson? I feel like
there's something. I've heard that he's been blackballed from the league for whatever reason. I don't really know why, but like
I know he had issues with the Warriors upper management.
But mostly it's just rumors of him being not so accepting of a certain lifestyle, and it carried over into the locker room, or they didn't want that carrying over into the locker room. So that's why
he was very religious. I think.
So maybe he's got some of that shit going for him. But
because he was like a reverend or some shit. Like from what I remember hearing. What I was gonna say is, I think because Mark Jackson kind of developed that that Golden State defense, like the defense that they had. Because I feel like what Mark Jackson did, he like built that core, gave him some type of a defensive mind. Like he really pushed Draymond Green, Iguodala, shit like that. And then you got Steve Kerr who came in, who like pushed that offense to another level, and then that's when it just like blew up. But and I feel like what if he was to go to Philly? Like I feel like he could definitely make that defense even better, and he could make it work with Simmons and Embiid. Like he's smart. He's like a super smart guy.
You see what's on your screen? Greg Popovich's contract is up at the end of this year.
Yeah.
And quote, Pop's vision has clearly been our North Star. However, having said that, when we get ready to make a decision, we all get in the room and everybody needs to be prepared. He doesn't care who gets the right answer as long as we get the right answer. Thus saying that even if Pop's not there, shit's going to be okay, right?
Because he kind of built up Timmy. Like I feel like
because there's been a lot of Popovich going to the Nets and being their general manager. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, they signed Steve Nash to be their coach, so maybe that's out of the running, right?
Yeah.
But Buford said the Spurs are under the assumption Popovich is returning. The coach is also scheduled to coach the USA men's basketball team in next summer's rescheduled Olympics. So we know he's probably going to do one more NBA season at least.
Yeah.
because I know that he wants to coach that team. But here's the thing.
That would be crazy. But
Now,
why? Why would he? I don't see why he would want to do that, though.
Time out. Why would Greg Popovich not want to coach for he doesn't seem like the type of guy to be like that. But if they're not going to re-sign him and they can't come to terms and he still wants to coach, you think he'd be stubborn enough to not like?
But I don't think they're not going to want to sign him. I don't see why they would do that. That to me, that's a stupid. And Spurs have done nothing dumb. I would
agree. But these usually rumors with RC Buford, they don't involve. They just got. It's always what me and Pop are doing, and that's it. There has never been even an inkling of, oh, maybe we'll let Pop go.
Yeah, and usually where there's smoke, there's fire. So
exactly. And I don't think, maybe there's nothing even wrong there. But I just think if you could get a guy like that to Philadelphia with the core that they already have built there, and a guy who has a complete understanding of how to put Joel Embiid's big ass under the fucking basket and get him to post up and say, Joel Embiid, here's Tim Duncan. He's going to teach you how to hit a 10-foot bank shot. You're never going to miss it. And you don't have to worry about doing step-back threes. You don't have to worry about any of that shit.
I got one even better.
Okay.
What if, and we're going to get to this, but what if Bucks lose? And their way to keep Embiid, to keep Giannis is say, we're getting Greg Popovich.
So can I be honest with you? I'm not 1,000% sure that solves Giannis's problems.
Why?
Unless you're telling me that under Popovich, Middleton becomes better, I don't think that solves Giannis's problems.
I think the problem with Giannis right now is not truly all his fault. I think it's part of the coaching. It's coaching.
But there's a guy. If there's somebody that Giannis needs, there's this guy named Chip England or Chip English, something like that.
Okay.
He's the Spurs shooting coach. He fixed Kawhi's jump shot because of Kawhi's giant hands.
Yeah.
And I think his name's Chip. Yeah, here you go. England. There we go. This guy.
Yeah, I've heard
works
about
for
him.
The Spurs. He works for the Spurs, and he's like the shooting guru man. He's like the shooting whisperer. He can get anybody. He has all these different drills.
Because he got Parker a jump shot too. Because before Tony Parker did not have any type of.
He's the only guy that people know that is capable of that. That's the guy you have to get for somebody like Giannis. But I don't know if Greg Popovich leaves the Spurs if the rest of his team leaves too. I don't think that's how it works. Which, to your point, that's why I would be surprised to see him leave in the first place.
The only reason I say it is because I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if Philly's just a coach away from winning it. I could see Bucks being a coach away from, because I think Greg Popovich.
I think the Bucks already did that. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I don't know if they pay. Sure, he's good, but I don't Greg Popovich would have not. And I don't want to. I don't want to get into.
Mike Budenholzer is from Greg Popovich's learning tree. That's why I don't think it will be that different.
Yeah. So for me, if you really watch the games, Milwaukee didn't make much adjustments from game 1 to game 2, and there's no way I've not.
Preach. Preach to the choir.
Greg Popovich would have never let that happen. That he is immediately making a huge adjustment, because even though they lost by 6 points, and that's probably why, because they're like, we lost by 6 and Giannis didn't play the greatest, and that's probably what they thought. And it's like, what? Did you see why he didn't play the greatest? It wasn't 100%. It was because of the defensive scheme. So you have to just run the defense. They're running zone the whole way through, and they're just building a huge wall to stop Giannis, and then they're just swarming him once he gets by his man, and then they're forcing him to give it up, and he's either
They're swarming him. They're swarming him off the ball too. Like when a lot of
yeah.
how that's how they got this turnover right here. But we're talking that I just saw across my screen. After this one, or yeah, Jimmy Butler's just playing passing lanes in front of Giannis.
Yeah, yeah,
and that's all they're doing is playing the passing lanes because this team's does a lot of ball movement shit.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
my thing is when you combine that with elite shooting from downtown, because that's the other thing with this Miami series. Their shoot, at least in game 2, they put up like Rockets level threes, or at least it felt like it. They were just bombing from outside.
They have good 3-point shooters.
Yeah, I'm not that. No, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, but my whole thing is, it was like Miami played their ass off, and Miami definitely deserves to be up 2-0 in the series because they just outplayed them. But for them, like they played their ass off and won by 2, and it was last-second free throws, and because refs were like try to freaking cheat the game, which is just weird, or just fucked up the whole game. To me, that game would have been so much better just them missing at the that 3-point shot instead of having the refs try to change the outcome of the game.
They went straight Houston theory.
Yeah, they I think they outshot them by like 10 threes.
They said we're gonna try to make 23s and win the game. Because statistics show that if you hit 23s, the odds of you losing are like small.
Yeah, and it was a completely different method than how they had ran their offense the game before.
Yeah, they took almost 2 times the amount of threes.
Yeah, made 10 more.
And
and they only won by 2 points. That's the thing. That's why to me it's like
that's what the Rockets do. This is what I was talking about with the Rockets when they were running the bubble.
Yeah,
this is why I'm so disappointed, because I'm like, here you go again, 12 of 31, like that. They noticed it in this game because I bet you. Hold on, when we go to the second half, they made all 12 of their threes in the second half.
Yeah,
that's what I figured. Fucking that's the formula. I could tell when they played game 2 because I was like, these motherfuckers are not missing anything.
Yeah. But my whole thing is, I just feel like Greg Pop wins that game. I think just his coaching, he would, because I don't even know the guys. What's his name? What's the head coach's name? For
Mike Budenholzer.
He got the shit outcoached from him. He got super outcoached these last 2 games, and there's no reason you have to win game 2, and you're only playing Giannis 35 minutes. Why? Giannis can play 45 minutes.
Yeah, I don't
easily.
Get it either. I don't get that either.
It doesn't, like, Greg Pop never did that though. Like, he always amped it up like, it just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, Jimmy Butler only played 36. Jimmy Butler only shot 8 shots for whatever it's worth. Like, he had 40 in the first game, and then the rest of this team just shot like the threes. They played Rockets ball. And if they're going to do that, they got a really good chance of winning this series because.
But he played defense too. That's the thing about.
I'm not denying he did not play defense, but I'm just saying the reason why they're up 2-0 is because of the shooting from outside and their controlling of the Bucks, what the Bucks like to do on offense. Mm-hmm. Because here's Giannis. This is a Giannis game.
But
this is a Giannis stat line. This is like a very normal Giannis stat line.
But it wasn't.
That leads to wins, and he's -7 on the floor for plus minus.
But the whole thing is the stat line shows that. But if you watch the game, he wasn't playing like himself. Like, he was not trucking through people and dunking like he usually does. It was more so like, it was only on fast breaks that he ever did it. Like,
well, that's usually the only time.
He was more so really, like,
he's not really a half court guy. Like, that's not. His game is to catch the ball off the glass on defense, and then take it coast to coast and beat the center down the floor. That's what makes Giannis great. Is usually they have a bigger guy guarding him, and that the fast break is the key to his game. But
a lot of those points were off like putbacks.
But look, 19 19 points in the second half, right? Let's go to fourth quarter.
I was gonna say what I think is gonna help change the series a little bit is that those last 2 minutes. Giannis came alive in those last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's the reason, because they were down 6 throughout the, like, literally from the half to like the whole rest of the second half. They just were just down, and randomly there was just a spark, and the spark was you played Giannis, and you let him play his game, and he started doing what he had to do.
Yeah. Do you think Giannis is pulling a Kevin Durant from 2015? Let me elaborate.
What I text you about, where he loses to the team and then joins them?
Yeah, let me elaborate on that a little bit. So, 2015 playoffs, right?
2015 or 2016?
Wasn't he a Warrior by 2016?
No, he was a Warrior in 2017.
So, Kevin Durant, in this 7-game series, where the Warriors came back 3-1.
Yep.
Averaged the most subpar 38 and 3 assists with almost 2 steals and 2 blocks stat line you're going to see. Because he shot 42% from the field. And a lot of people said the lights were on, but nobody was home with him. And then especially by the end of the series. And then what happened, Dario?
Then he went to the team that beat him.
Do you think we find ourselves in that situation again? Where Giannis is putting up, I think Giannis, even right now, when I look at the stat line, just from these 2 games, right? I think he's shooting over 50% now after the 2 games combined. He might finish with a very normal looking stat line.
So Russ, I wanna understand what changed, because literally before the playoffs we had the same conversation and we thought he wouldn't leave. No,
I said I could see a world where he leaves.
I know you did mention, you said losing change, maybe I mentioned it, but losing changes your perspective. Yeah. But like at the time, he just seemed like he loved Milwaukee so much, and
I think he's super loyal.
Now he seems
Milwaukee.
Frustrated.
I think he's super loyal to Milwaukee, but I think he's frustrated for the same things that we're talking about right now. Because do you see a logical way for them to fix this?
Yeah, I do. I think you play him 45 minutes instead of 35 minutes. And I think you let him play his game. I feel like the whole.
So wait, stop right there. You don't think he realizes that?
Well, last game he was also in foul trouble really, really early.
Well, I'm just explaining to you why a guy like that might seem pissed off.
All I know, the reason foul trouble, when you're that level, when you're going to be a 2-time MVP, Kobe was a 1-time MVP. And I promise you, if the coach wanted Kobe to get out and Kobe didn't want to get out, especially in a playoff game.
Yeah, but Kobe, when do you think he was allowed to do that? He wasn't doing that to Phil in the 3-peat era. Like, maybe by the end of it, but you know what I'm saying?
Like, but it's Phil
Giannis
Jackson,
doesn't really.
Sure.
Giannis is gaining that cachet, but he doesn't have like the LeBron level. It's not like that yet. It's getting there. I would agree, it's getting there.
I don't know, man. Now it's a little different because just the way the world is with stars. Like like before, like the social media era kind of changed things. But LeBron definitely, I feel like he's the first one that comes to mind. But Kevin Durant is another one that I don't know if he's ever done. I can't think of a moment, but I feel like if he wanted to be in the game, he would. Like, it's just you don't get to tell him no, you're gonna be out of the game. I'm the best player in the team, and I'm the best player arguably in the league. I'm gonna play this freaking game, especially if we possibly can go down to 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, and that's why to a point I was making a while ago, that's why when he does play those long minutes, he struggles because he's not used to it. And then it's like, So then you say to yourself, oh, well, he's playing 40 minutes and his numbers go down. Yeah, well, no shit. If you trained yourself for a fucking 26-mile marathon and then you get there and they go, actually, we're doing 30, it's gonna fuck your day up.
Yeah,
it's gonna fuck your day up. Like, I just think,
I mean,
and
it just doesn't make sense.
I think that's got to be frustrating for him, and from just a player's perspective.
Yeah,
I think it's just got to be very frustrating. And the reason why I'm looking at it like there's no like concrete right answer for that is if, let's say, he plays more minutes and it goes exactly the way I say, where he just gets tired and fucks up. Then he's just going to feel like, well, I was mismanaged all season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's 25 years old, 26. He's playing less than 30 minutes a game almost.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I understand management, but it can almost be a hindrance to somebody like that.
Yeah.
Especially when I still feel like he is absolutely a work in progress and not even like done developing as a player. Maybe he's like 70% of the way there. Maybe. Like, there's still so much more of that game to unlock. So,
so we talked a lot about Giannis, obviously, because why wouldn't you? But does this change your mind about Jimmy in any way? I think, like,
specifically, what do I think he's a top 10 player in the league? No,
I don't. But do you think he's definitely? Do you think he's a top 10 leader in the league, top 5 leader in the league? Like,
does that? I don't know what that like. Here's the thing. For me to think better than Jimmy Butler, I have to think, oh, I could see him being the best player on a championship team. Because right now, I can see him as being a definitive second best player on a championship team. That's what it means like to me. Like, do I think that's changed? No. It hasn't.
But so we just praised Chris Paul for doing something similar when I think Jimmy's doing almost the exact same thing Chris Paul's doing.
Well, we're 2 games in. He was 7 games in. And at the end of this series,
well, we're actually 6 games in. And at the end, he hasn't lost in this playoffs.
Didn't they swept the Pacers?
Yep. They have not lost it in the playoffs yet.
So I don't know. I think it's very different. I think
he has that team ready.
I think Chris Paul had a significantly less deep team. I think Miami is fucking deep as shit.
OKC they had a lot of talent around
Miami Heat as a team, like in terms of like, if I was to play 2K, they would have way higher overalls on this team than they would on Oklahoma City. It's just super deep.
Okay.
Like, Iguodala is like your 9th man on this team.
Yeah. But
That's
I mean,
and he's a Hall of Famer.
Old. Yeah, but he's
a Hall of Famer. Like, I don't think he can be a 9th man on another team. He wasn't the 9th man 2 years ago on a championship team with the Dubs. He was the 6th man.
Yeah.
Essentially the starter. That's my point.
He's definitely not
a deep fucking squad. This squad is deep. And that rookie hero is getting better. Duncan Robinson can fucking shoot. Bam Adebayo is a freak. And he's giving Giannis a lot of trouble. Jay Crowder, fucking.
But to me, Jimmy's literally the heart of this team, though.
I think Jimmy's an amazing culture fit for Miami, but I do not think he's the heart of the team.
Have you watched the games? He's definitely not. There's no way. There's no way he's not.
I think that he is. You are mistaking the team taking on his identity for Jimmy taking on the Heat's identity. The Heat have been playing like this our whole lives.
When I want to
aggressive defense and spacing the floor, they've been playing like this ever since Dwayne Wade has been a relevant player. But as soon as they got rid of Shaq, this is how they've been playing. And under Eric Spoelstra, it's absolutely how they've been playing. And I think Jimmy Butler absolutely saw.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the style of the game. I'm talking about the actual there's a confidence to them, way different than what they were.
They've had this confidence for years.
No, hell no. He's definitely you're discrediting him. You're discrediting him right now.
They've always been a scrappy team. No, you're not understanding Miami's culture. This is why Jimmy wanted to play there. Jimmy wanted to play there because they're like this. Because this is the way it is in Miami.
But
Pat Riley,
they're like him,
insane culture.
Yeah,
but you're looking at it one way. I'm looking at it another way. I don't think either of us are wrong here.
It's just
I think
it's
fair.
Whichever way you look at it, it's the perfect fit. He fits with their system.
Yeah.
But he also, outside of their system, just became that player on his own, and that's why he fits perfectly in their system.
Yeah.
But he makes them get to this point, though. That's what I'm saying.
I think that...
you think if Jimmy wasn't on the team, they'd still be winning 2-0 in the series?
I mean, they were a tough out. They've been a tough out of the playoffs for years now. That's the part that I'm getting confused. Like, Miami didn't just show up on the scene. Like, they've been good for a long time.
Also, in Game 2, for that fourth quarter where the Bucks were making runs, Jimmy was out for most of that fourth quarter, and then when he came in, he barely touched the ball until the end when he made those free throws.
Yeah,
so
Jimmy had a 40-point game in Game 1, but in Game 2, like, he put up 8 shots and he did his thing on defense, but, like, the team won that game with their fucking almost 23s.
So go to the second half. Or I guess fourth quarter will be best.
So we got, let's count.
So he had 5 points in the fourth.
Yeah.
He didn't make a field goal.
No.
He
only free
took
throws.
6 free throws.
Hit the game-winning free throw.
Yeah.
If you want to call it that.
And he
the buzzer beater, if you will.
So my whole thing is, if you have a guy like him to want, like, for one, his mentality is what makes this. If Jimmy wasn't on this team and you put some other person at his level on that team, I don't think they would be up 2-0 in the series, and then they also wouldn't have put up the 40 points he put up the game before. He's definitely a huge factor in why he's the undeniable leader of that team.
On their team. He's the best player on their team. Definitely. Yeah. I'm okay.
And he's the leader, and he's the, like, if he's not, I promise you, if he was to somehow go out in the series, somehow, like, get an ankle sprain, do some shit like what happened with Luka, and he just gets out of the series, they don't win the series. It's over.
I don't know about that, man. Look at all these people putting up buckets. Like, I just think if they play the way they played in Game 2 as a team, I don't think it will matter.
All right, so you gotta trust role players to consistently hit.
I'm not saying that. That's not what I said. What I said was, if they do that, then I don't think it's going to matter.
And that's the reason you don't usually expect that, because it usually doesn't happen. A lot of the time, your role players help you win the championship for sure. Like, they're a big factor in winning a championship, but you don't expect it for all the time. Like, because
I think this team and the Celtics are in the same spot. Miami and the Celtics. I think, where
you think Jimmy and Jason Tatum are on the same level?
I think it's pretty close. One is kind of been there for a while, and one has just reached there in Tatum. But I think, like, it's not that far. I think that's a fair comparison to make in terms of tiers. But
I don't know. I mean, I definitely am giving Jimmy the edge off, like, clutchness and stuff. But in terms of definitely not like Jimmy's
probably a better defender. Yeah. The only thing he's not is a better shooter. But that's after that. And now you got me defending Jimmy Butler. See how we get here? This is fucking ridiculous. Anyway, so
I just don't know. I mean,
here's my thing with Jimmy Butler. Here's my thing with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is that guy that's fucking an all-star, but that's it. He's not fucking a great, and he's not fucking garbage.
Do you think he's a winner? Okay. I think he's a winner. I think his way of playing will help you win.
Well, how long has he been in the league now? 10 years?
All right. Yeah, let's go to his teams.
He's 30?
Yeah. What great team besides what the
Bulls.
the Bulls?
The Bulls that won the number one seed multiple times in a row. Last year's Philly team that was as good of a team as he's been on.
And that Philly team was
the
best they ever.
In his last year in Chicago, outside of that team in Minnesota, who he brought to the playoffs, they made the 8 seed, right? Fucking, I just think he's not. I don't think
Bulls team wasn't.
I think to win a championship, you have to have a top 10 player in the league, and he's not that.
I don't think they're gonna win a championship, but I think that
I'm not giving him top 10 credit.
And I did not give him. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I think he's the reason that they're at this point, and you're trying to say you don't. And I don't understand how you can look at that.
That's not what I said. I think Jimmy Butler is doing great in the series, but I don't think he's all that. I just want to make that very clear. I don't think he's all that. I think Miami has done really well as a team, and Jimmy Butler had a really nice game 1. But I just don't think he's all that. That's really all I don't know how else to explain it to you, because I don't want you to think he's
exactly the kind of player you look at and you're like, that his identity is what you can win a championship with.
I think he's Scottie Pippen. Because Scottie Pippen could win games too, but ultimately doesn't win you a championship. He's just not that level. That's what I'm talking about. He's just not. He's never going to break that glass ceiling. It's never going to happen. He is going to have to live his life.
Was Chris Paul not like that? The same thing?
This is a good point. I would agree with you. But I think, and that's why I said I'm worried about Chris Paul's career, because I think that's the same guy who has several years where he's done things that merit him praise, but ultimately doesn't really have anything to show for it. But Chris Paul at least was a top 10 player in the league at some point in his career, where Jimmy Butler, I can't say that.
But what I'm saying, okay, and that's fine, and I agree with that. I definitely don't think Jimmy's a top 10. I don't even think he's a top 20. Like,
wow, I wouldn't agree with that, but all right.
I feel like I can think of 20 better players, but when I think of 20 better, I don't think I'd pick 10 more players that I'd want with me in the fourth quarter though. Like, yeah, I don't know.
That to me factors into my top 20. Like, to me, there's no way that they're in this position at all if he's not top 20. But I just think to say
he might be like tail end of the teens. I don't know if I'm. Okay. I don't know if he's a top 15 player. I don't think. Yeah, because
I'm okay with that. But that's my problem, is that I think people are looking at this series and going, "Wow, is Jimmy Butler better than what we think?" And the answer is no, he's not. He's exactly what you think. He's been this way for years, but he's never going to break the glass ceiling of the number one guy on a championship team.
I agree with that whole thing. Yeah, I agree.
That is fucking crucial, because that drives me nuts.
But I think his kind of player is what helps you win a championship. That's just the only thing. Like, if Giannis goes to the Heat, it's because, and they win a championship, it's going to be because of Jimmy. It's not going to be because, like, Giannis is going to help them be that.
Well, let me explain.
If that makes any sense to you.
Hold on. Let me ask you this question. LeBron went to the Heat because of D Wade directly, right?
Yeah, and Bosh, right?
But mostly,
and the organization, the structure, he wanted that too.
Say that last part again.
The organization and the structure.
Oh,
that's Pat Riley. It's Pat Riley. That's why Pat Riley stuff.
Because Giannis goes and sits in Pat Riley's office, and Pat Riley goes, "Hey, you want to see my rings from the last 30 years? I got a bunch of them. It's really cool. It's really cool. You could try them on. It'd be awesome." And he goes, "I must be on the Heat." That is what happens. And that'll be it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. LeBron obviously fell for the same fucking meeting. And I think that's okay. And I think Giannis will become a better player for it. And I think Giannis, talking about identity, I think much like Jimmy Butler, Giannis has the identity for that. And I think that's why he's getting frustrated in Milwaukee too.
Yeah.
Another reason. It's because they're not showing extreme mental toughness, and that's what puts Miami in these situations is the lack of fear and the mental toughness.
Yeah.
But fuck Jimmy Butler, he's not tough.
But my whole thing, do you agree with my point when I say if Giannis goes to Miami, I don't look at Miami like, of course, obviously they look like a much greater team because of Giannis, but I think the part that makes it that there's a very scary team is Jimmy, not Giannis.
Oh, I would not agree with that at all. Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that at all.
Okay,
you just don't think you don't think Giannis is mentally tough. Well,
it's not that. I think
how can you say that? That's what I don't understand.
Because now you got a great team, and then you got a guy that's gonna close. To me, Jimmy's gonna be the closer.
But that doesn't mean. But that's the way you put it makes it seem like the closer is the most important guy in the team.
It is.
Yeah, I don't agree. The best player is the most important guy on the team.
How?
Because if the closer mattered that much, then I would put Jimmy Butler in the top 10 because of exactly what you were saying. But it's not the case.
Yeah, it doesn't put you over the top because you don't.
Paul.
Yeah, huh?
Same exactly. But same thing with Damian Lillard. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. All these guys who are clutch.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, and just like it goes the same way on the other side. When you're just a star and you're not a closer, guess what? You do the same exact shit.
I don't see it bothering LeBron.
LeBron is a closer. He
wasn't a closer during his whole time in Miami, and he was only truly closer. And a lot of people think he wasn't the closer.
They had a closer. That's my whole thing. They had the closer in Wade. That was the thing. Their closer was Wade.
They also had the closer in Kyrie.
Yes, exactly.
So LeBron wasn't the closer. So LeBron wasn't the closer.
No, but he started 2018. He was not the closer, and 2015 when he hit the game winner on Chicago, he definitely was a closer. But Kyrie was just better at it. It doesn't matter. He was a closer. LeBron James has since like 2015. He's definitely been a closer.
You're digging yourself a hole here, my friend.
You literally agreed with me. You literally agreed with me.
I have a question.
The best player is more important than the closer. But if the closer is the best player, that's where you get the best championship scenario. Most of the time, the closer and the best player are the same guy. 9 times out of 10. Very rarely is it the other way around because, like, most of the time, the guy who is the best player has the ball in his hands most of the time.
Yeah, that's why people would get mad at LeBron because he wasn't the closer and he would pass out to people. They're like, well, why doesn't the best player have the ball at the end of the fucking game?
Yeah. But I don't understand how we aren't, like, how you guys aren't getting what I'm saying. Like, I literally just said closer is the most important thing to a team.
Yeah, I got what you said. I just don't agree.
Okay, and then now name me one championship team, and then if so, name me 2 or 3 teams that didn't have a closer and still won a championship. You can't.
Yeah, but you're trying to put it as something as like
04 Pistons, right?
That's not true. Chauncey Billups. Keep on.
Okay.
Chauncey Billups was a closer and is a closer. Mr. Big Shot. That's what they called him. Keep on. I thought about that already.
But you're trying to say that Butler would be more important in a Giannis
than
team
Giannis.
Because he would be
that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense.
That's where I don't agree with you.
That's what I'm confused about. I'm saying closer is important. You need a closer, but they are not the most important person if they are not the best player on that team.
Yeah, because if you could have you could have 3 closers on your team, they're not. If you don't have an elite best player, you're not winning a championship. There's only one scenario.
The reason what I'm saying is the reason I look at Miami and say if Giannis goes there, it's very scary is because of Jimmy, not because of Giannis.
Yeah, I feel like that's some hot.
Giannis is gonna get you there, and Jimmy's gonna get you out, get you the way that he's gonna bring you to the promised land.
The way you're saying it is like custom hate for Giannis. Like you don't have to say it like that.
It's not, but it's not because of Giannis though.
No, but if you could just say if Giannis went there, they'd be scary. But you have to go. If Giannis went there, they'd be scary because of Jimmy. I feel like you're
because
just
it is.
I feel like the part where I feel like you're just missing the part where it says "and fuck Giannis." Like I don't.
It's not, but it's not that. It's just that he's not. He's not. He's
just
not
coming
getting
off
you
that
to
way.
that point. He's not getting you to that point.
Yeah, see, you fucking hate it.
He's not. He's getting you. He gets you the 46 minutes of the way, and then Jimmy's gonna give you the other two that matter, the most important two.
Yeah.
It's like
Jimmy Butler's way better than Giannis. You're right.
No, he's definitely not.
That's
but
not why he's arguing. Now you're being obtuse.
Well, it's annoying because he's like, it doesn't.
What I'm telling you is the truth, though. It's literally the truth.
He said because he's saying Giannis can't close, and Giannis closes. Like, that's what I don't understand.
He can't close. You want to know why? Because he doesn't have a go-to move. He's a player that can be stopped, and because he's one-dimensional. I'm sorry that he has not changed the one dimension of his game. That's not my fault. LeBron James changed the one dimension of his game, and now he's arguably one of the greatest players of all times. Like, I'm sorry that's his issue, and he has to fix it.
I don't think that Jimmy Butler will be a bigger factor in that situation than Giannis. Because
I promise
if that were the case, then I would pick Jimmy Butler to sweep the Bucks right now. And if they do sweep them, then I maybe have to come back to the drawing board and think about something. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm still taking Bucks in 7 because I think at some point they figure this thing out, and at some point the fucking Miami Heat stop hitting everything from 3. Like, I just doubt that.
Yeah, I'm going Miami in 6.
I don't think that's the case. I really don't.
I have a question.
I think to your point that has more to do with coaching than it has to do with him. I really believe that because in situations before Budenholzer, he was hitting game winners. He's hit multiple game winners. I've seen it happen. And I've seen him be clutch down the stretch like we saw last night or the last game.
When have you seen him? When have you seen him hit game winners?
He's hit multiple game winners in his career. He hit
in the playoffs
against New York. He hasn't been in the playoffs that many times.
Against New York. What New York?
He's hit game-winning shots.
The Knicks. Did you just say the Knicks to me?
Not everybody has game winners in the playoffs, and most of the time it's because
that's where legends are born, Russell. I'm sorry, it's the truth. It's nothing against him. Sorry, Lindsay.
It's everything against him. That's
okay. just so y'all know.
You said you don't think you guys are talking about Jamal Murray, and you think he's just hot right now. Do you not think that's what's happening with this Heat team, that they're just fucking hot right now? Do you think that could go away?
I think that they're hot. I think you don't hit 23s as a team every game unless your name is Houston.
I think it's easier to play defense consistently.
I
especially the way they do.
Holy shit, I disagree.
It's much easier to play defense consistently than hit big shots consistently.
I agree, and that's why I don't think that Miami is going to win this series, because I think that's all they've been doing is hitting shot after shot after shot after shot after shot.
Playing great defense. That defense.
Yeah, but the thing is, these are close games, despite the fact that they're hitting everything.
That shows you. That's and this is like where I'm trying to. Giannis is getting them to the point. He got him to that point, but he didn't quite get there. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's the part where if he had Jimmy, and if Jimmy was on his team versus that team, they would have won both of these games. This
is what he did in the fourth quarter. You're telling me that he didn't do everything that he could possibly do to win the game.
So if you're looking at stats, Russell.
No.
Of course.
And then I want you to tell me, and then I want you to find me the other guy on the team that would close for him. Find that for me.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have the closer. Like, what is happening here? You're literally just agreeing with me.
No.
And you don't.
This guy did everything he could do, but you need teammates. Like, he tried to close them out, but literally, like, you can't.
They were down 6 points with. They were down 6 points with like a minute left.
And he fucking tried to do shit. But that fucking, like, I don't know what to tell. Like, I just really, after watching the game, I cannot see it as his fault. I can't see it as Giannis' fault.
It's because you don't want to.
No, it's because I literally
There's no reason he should have. He should be playing as him for at least more than 2 minutes in the game.
They're literally.
Most of those points are in the last 2 minutes.
Budenholzer probably looked at him with 2 minutes ago and said, "Fuck it, I don't know what to do. Do what you want." And that's, I'm sure, what he came up with.
And that should have just been like, "Oh, maybe I should just play my star."
Everybody but LeBron. LeBron's the only guy I know that just says, "Fuck it, I'm just going to do what I'm doing." Or Kobe, and he wasn't doing that when he was a fucking 21. He was doing that when he was
when
fucking
Kobe was
leading the team.
25, the same age as Giannis, Kobe was definitely doing that.
And he was
Kobe in his seventh year in the
games.
Huh?
What are you talking about? And he was winning.
He didn't
40
have a
games
team.
during
Don't even do that
time.
because this guy has a way better team than Kobe had in those 3 years that Kobe didn't.
I feel like we're getting very
this team is
stuck on this.
Yeah, and this team is way better than probably Kobe's 2009 team. If we're really talking about this.
The Bucks are getting outplayed by the Heat right now.
Right, I understand that, but I don't think it's
and that system.
Game, I don't think Giannis is the main reason why
Giannis last game.
I said that to begin with that it wasn't his fault. I said that was the coach's fault.
Okay, so game 1.
That's what I feel like I've been saying for the last 5 minutes.
Game 1, it was his fault. He played bad. The coaching was bad. They got blown out. Jimmy Butler had 40. Game 2, they were still kind of being outplayed, but every time they went on a run, the stupid Heat would make like 3 threes and it would destroy the run.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened.
And then stop. But Giannis was also in foul trouble, which was also really dumb. He had like 4 fouls by the third quarter. And him and Middleton were playing the whole fourth quarter with 5 fouls.
And whose fault is that?
I'm just saying what was happening.
No, I'm talking to Russell because he wants to defend Giannis so much. I want him to also go into that. Like, it matters what he did. Like, and he did not. You could look at that stat line and be like, "Oh my God, he played like Giannis," and he didn't. And we know that. You watch the game and know he didn't play like Giannis. So we should. To me, it's irrelevant whatever stats he put up because we know he didn't play like himself.
In the first game, he definitely didn't play like himself. In the second game, he played way more like himself.
He played like himself in the last 2 minutes.
And if the Heat hit 15 instead of 17 threes, they win the game. So like that's my thing. Is like this happens to me in 2K where I feel like I play the better game, but these motherfuckers just hit threes constantly, and 2 points is more than 3. Like they can't.
You mean 3 points is more than 2?
Whatever, you get what I meant. Fucking.
If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So
I'm just saying, like,
doesn't matter.
I think to say that
shit, Dario. That was good.
To say that this is a 2-point game and Miami hit a bunch of threes and then turn around and say Giannis is not a closer and that's why they lost is insane to me.
To look at Giannis and think that he's a closer is insane to me because he's not. He hasn't been a closer throughout his career, so I don't understand how you can call him a closer. He's not a closer. I
don't know how you win 60 games in 2 straight years and not close out
because
games.
The regular season literally is not that big of a deal, Russell. Because he showed you that you win 60
in regular season games. You're right. In regular season games, there's not 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter in regular season games.
Guess happens. What? His team played in a bunch of blowouts all year. That was the biggest issue with his team.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Look it up. Look up how many. They had the most blowouts in the whole NBA this year. I promise you, it's a fact. There's a stat, and that was the scary part about this Bucks team. Why do you think he was playing 30 minutes a game? Because they were blowing them out, and then he didn't have to play the other 18 minutes of the game. This is a fact. Point differentiate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had the highest point differentiation. Whatever that word is. Differential in the league.
Close. Yeah.
Look at close, and you don't see all of them high ass greens, and he's looking at all the little close ones. Like, come on, it's not even.
I'm just saying.
If you have 10 close games out of 82, how you gonna?
I don't know. I just don't think it's fair. I think you're pooping on Giannis. I don't think that's fair.
I'm literally not. What I'm saying is that I never pooped on him. What I said was, if he goes to Miami, Miami is gonna be dangerous because of Jimmy, not because of Giannis.
Can you say I never pooped on him again? Super emotionally, that was good.